You know, it really seems like we learn new details about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's years-long relationship literally all the time. Last week, Trump said this about kicking Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago.
Stole people that work for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And I threw him out of the place, persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it.
The people, or young girls, a young woman, Virginia Giuffre, who worked in the spa as an attendant. But now there's new reporting from the Daily Beast, and it gives a different account of their split. Quote, Epstein was a member of the Mar-a-Lago Club until October 2007, more than a year after he was indicted and released on bail, according to the book, The Grifters Club, Trump, Mar-a-Lago, and the Selling of the Presidency. The Daily Beast adds, in the footnotes of their book, the team of Miami Herald journalists behind the book reported, quote, the authors viewed a membership list showing that Epstein's account had been closed in October 2007.
So let me ask a question, everybody. When did they have that conversation? He kicked Epstein to the curb. What year was that when that happened? Was that in 2007 or was that in 2005 or 2003? I mean, can we just stop with the craziness, thinking that Donald Trump somehow did the Heisman with his relationship with Epstein? They were buddies, they were buds, they were wrapped up, they partied together, they oogled together, they did all the things together. And so Donald Trump's sitting up here now saying, well, I told him to stop and he didn't, and I meant it. It's laughable.
It's like there are receipts. You know, it's not Jeffrey Epstein, I feel like, and Donald Trump, just like how Trump used, I mean, literally, he would be at the Don King fights. Right. Donald Trump at one point was the most mentioned name in rap music. He was a key part of the culture. Jeffrey Epstein, in the same vein, he liked to brag about his connections. This is a story from the Daily Beast about how Epstein and Maxwell used Trump's fame to groom a 13-year-old girl. This is the woman that testified in the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell under a pseudonym called Jane. This is what she says, is what they write about her testimony. From the very beginning, there was a lot of bragging about how they were friends with essentially everyone. And they knew everyone, Jane said. And they would sort of name drop or sometimes put people on speakerphones whose voices I didn't know and then say, oh, well, this was so-and-so and so-and-so. And just, you know, say that they were very well connected and affluent. Look, you can try to crop Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein out of some of the pictures, but you cannot take Donald Trump out of this story. Jane, in that reporting, goes on to say, and she said this on the stand, that some of the names that Jeffrey Epstein would mention to her would be, she mentioned Donald Trump's name 3 times on the stand. She also mentioned Bill Clinton's name. And then she says that she was introduced to Donald Trump by Jeffrey Epstein at Mar-a-Lago in December of 1994. And I will note, she was about 14 years old.
It's interesting to me the progress that is being made by the House Oversight Committee on this question of releasing the documents, and that just as these questions around their relationship have metastasized, so too has this inquiry. Because if you look at the subpoena that Oversight is issuing, it's not just the files, as the files have traditionally been thought of. They're also now talking about third-party communications with DOJ. Let me read you just a little. In complying with the subpoena, be apprised that the U.S. House of Representatives and the committee do not recognize any purported non-disclosure privileges associated with the common law, including, but not limited to, the deliberative process privilege, the attorney-client privilege, the attorney work product protections, any purported privileges or protections from disclosure under the Freedom of Information Act, or any purported contractual privileges such as non-disclosure agreement. If they were actually ever able to execute on the subpoena, there would be so much more information than if the files had been released in the first place.
Well, there it is. If they will actually execute on the subpoena.
Big asterisk right
there. I mean, do we really think this administration is going to turn over all that information?
No, I mean, well,
it's not happening.
We could at least even ask for Alex Acosta, you know, the guy that let Jeffrey Epstein off on the sweetheart deal, but he ain't even make none of the list today. None of the subpoenas. We have to hear from the man that struck the deal in the first place. We don't want to work for Donald Trump.
And what does that tell you, Simone?
Well, I guess it says Well, it's a question. It gives me more questions, Michael. The question I have is, was the president, when he was a private citizen, was he knowledgeable about what Jeffrey Epstein was doing? Did he know? Is he currently protecting not just that predator, but some other predators that he knows? Is he himself a predator?
So for me, to your question, that is the reality for everybody. So everybody who was in that orbit, not just Donald Trump, but everybody in that orbit had awareness, self-awareness about this man. They had to. I mean, no one lives in that space and not see what's going on.